My wife took everything in the divorce, even the house. I started over with nothing. Now she's seen my name tied to a multi-million-dollar inheritance and suddenly wants a second chance. Funny how timing works. Hello Reddit I plus here. On the morning I officially became the poorest I'd ever been, my ex-wife toasted to her fresh start in the house I built with my own hands. On the morning I accidentally became a millionaire, she asked if we could talk. Here's how it happened. I'm 38 now. 2 years ago, I was 36 and married to a woman I thought I'd grow old with. Let's call her Sabrina. We'd been together 11 years. No huge fights, no dramatic red flags. Just me grinding away at my small logistics company while she curated the perfect social media life. On our anniversary, I came home early with reservations for a rooftop restaurant and a velvet box in my jacket pocket. Nothing flashy, just a sapphire pendant she once pointed at in a shop window. Instead of candlelight and music, I found a process server at my kitchen table, divorce papers. Sabrina didn't even have the decency to be there. She was at Pilates. Her lawyer calmly explained that she'd been unhappy for years and had developed feelings for someone else. That someone else was a real estate agent named Kyle, the same guy who'd helped us evaluate our home's market value months earlier. I had literally paid the man to walk through my house and flirt with my wife. The divorce was swift and merciless. Her attorney painted me as emotionally unavailable and obsessed with work. Apparently, building a business to support your household is now considered abandonment. The judge awarded her the house, said she needed stability. Stability. In the property, I renovated room by room on weekends. The hardwood floors I laid, the deck I built from scratch. She also got a sizable chunk of my company. To keep it afloat, I sold my car and downsized to a tiny one-bedroom apartment with stained carpets and a window that faced a brick wall. For months, I lived on instant noodles and caffeine. I worked 16-hour days trying to rebuild what was left of my business. I avoided telling my parents how bad things were. They immigrated with nothing and sacrificed too much for me to admit I'd lost nearly everything. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, I got a voicemail from a firm in Boston. They said they were handling the estate of a man named Arthur Whitmore. I had no idea who that was. I almost deleted the message. Curiosity won. Turns out, Arthur Whitmore was my biological grandfather. I was adopted at birth. I always knew that. What I didn't know was that my birth mother came from old money. According to the attorney, she had me at 16. Her parents forced a closed adoption. She passed away in her 20s due to illness. No other children, no spouse. Her father spent decades trying to find me. He hired investigators, filed petitions to unseal records, kept detailed files. Every birthday, he wrote letters addressed to my grandson. Even though he had no way of sending them, he updated his will every single year. 3 months before he died at 91, he finally located me through a private investigator. He never got to meet me. He left everything to me. Everything. 3 mixed-use buildings in downtown Boston generating steady rental income. A diversified investment portfolio worth roughly $18 million. A historic waterfront home in Newport. Cash accounts that made my head spin. I was sitting in my depressing little apartment when the lawyer calmly listed asset after asset. The radiator was clanking. My sink was dripping. I thought it was a prank. Then they emailed the documentation and the letters. 30 years of handwritten notes from a man who never stopped looking for me. I cried. Not because of the money, because somewhere out there, someone had wanted me that badly. The newspaper ran a feature about the estate transfer. Long-lost grandson inherits Whitmore fortune. There was even a photo of me looking stunned outside the courthouse. Guess who reads the business section every Sunday? Sabrina. Within hours, my phone lit up. First a text. I saw the article. I've been thinking about you a lot. Then, we made mistakes. Maybe we were just in a bad place. Then, Kyle and I broke up months ago. It meant nothing compared to what we had. I didn't respond. The next day, her mother called. Said, love is rare and forgiveness is powerful. A mutual friend message saying people grow and maybe this was fate giving us a second chance. Funny how fate only shows up when bank accounts do. Sabrina eventually asked to meet, just to talk. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Curiosity, I guess. We met at a quiet cafe. She looked the same, polished, confident, slightly rehearsed. She talked about regret, about how she felt lost, how Kyle wasn't stable, how she'd realized what we had was special. Then she casually mentioned how hard it must be, managing all that property alone. There it was. Not love, logistics. I let her finish. I listened without interrupting. Then I thanked her. Not for the memories, not for the apology. For leaving. Because losing everything forced me to confront who I was without the house, the status, the illusion of a perfect marriage. It forced me to rebuild leaner, sharper, stronger. I told her something she didn't expect. I'd already placed most of the inherited assets into a trust. I hired professional managers. I reinvested into my company, expanded operations, and partnered with a nonprofit that supports foster kids transitioning into adulthood. I bought a modest home. Nothing flashy. No marble countertops. Just peace. And I was seeing someone new. A pediatric nurse I met through the nonprofit. She knew about my apartment days before she ever knew about the inheritance. Sabrina's smile froze for half a second. That was all I needed. She asked if there was any chance for us. I said no. Not angrily, not bitterly, just calmly. Because here's the twist no one expects. The money wasn't the real inheritance. The real inheritance was perspective. I walked out of that cafe lighter than I'd felt in years. Not because I was wealthy, but because I finally understood that the woman who left when I was broke would always leave again the moment things stopped benefiting her. And this time, I had something far more valuable than millions. Self-respect.